Now, I saw a Washington Post headline that really got me excited. It was from their editorial board, and it said, Social Security proposals are wrong-headed. Oh, thanks God, finally. Because the Washington Post is supposed to be part of the media establishment, and hence we're told by the media establishment that they're liberals. You know, liberal media, Washington Post, of course. Now, there's all these Social Security proposals out there to cut Social Security. And it's great to see that that the Washington Post editorial board is actually going to write a liberal editorial for the first time in a long time and say, yes, those are wrong-headed. Then you read the editorial and you find out, no, they're arguing the exact opposite. Say it with me. Of course. Look, is the same Washington Post that we told you about last week, that their liberal columnist, Richard Cohen, is the one that keeps writing? I mean, like, if black people are coming into your store and you kick them out. Now, to be fair, that was something he apologized for from a long time ago, but he's still writing things like that and talking about how, well, it's very understandable why George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. He was wearing a thug uniform. That's their liberal columnist. Now, their editorial board has been massively conservative for a long time, including being wild cheerleaders for the Iraq War. So it turns out in this case, they say, progressives now have a Social Security plan. It's called Harkin-Sanchez. Harkin is Senator Harkin in the Senate, and of course, Linda Sanchez is in the House. And what they want to do is they want to actually increase Social Security. Oh, to people in Washington, this is the biggest heresy you can possibly. You want to help the actual middle class in this country? You want to help the citizens? They're wrong-headed. How could you do that? They explain that would actually hurt the rich. Really? Okay. So first of all, they explained that the average increase under Harkin-Sanchez would be $60 a month to the elderly who need it, right? They're like, oh, outrageous. Doesn't seem that outrageous to me. Now, normally what they would say is, it's unpaid for. You know how liberals, they like to spend, but they're not going to pay for it. But actually, it is paid for. The proposal says that Social Security tax, which is now capped at $113,700, your payroll tax. You know, a lot of you might not know that, because if you make under $113,000, you pay the whole 12.4%, okay, including your employer. But once you get above that, if you make above that, you stop paying it, okay? So all this proposal says is, no, just keep paying it at all the brackets. And if you do, Social Security is solvent for basically eternity, so it doesn't have any solvency issues at all. Plus, we can add $60 a month to every retiree. Wouldn't that be great? Washington Post says, no, that would be miserable. And they explain why. They say for someone earning $200,000 per year, this would mean a tax increase of more than $4,000 per year. For someone earning $1 million, the tax increase would be $58,700. Now, number one, why do they frame it that way? Because almost everybody at the paper earns about $200,000. That's not fair. A lot of the writers don't earn that, but the editors do, and the guys who write these kind of editorials earn that kind of money. So they're like, whoa, that's taking $4,000 out of my pocket, right? And then they talk about the millionaires because those are the donors that basically decide what the Washington establishment should think. And to them, taking $58,000 out of their pocket is a serious crime, right? Now, you have to understand something. $58,000 sounds like a lot of money, right? But all of you, if you make under $113,000, you're paying the whole 12.4%. If you're rich and you make over $113,000, you stop paying it. So it's a weird kind of thing to say, I'm taking money out of their pocket. The reality is, the way the system is set up right now, they take money out of your pocket, but won't take it out of people who make above $113,700. Now, there's some logic to that, because it's not a welfare program. It's you pay into it, and then you get a certain amount back. But there's also logic in this program. But they're not arguing logic. They're trying to scare people. So now they're saying, and this is my favorite quote, yet even the rich have finite resources. Government can only go to that well so many times. Why spend this gob of revenue on the elderly, who are already heavily protected by the federal government? That's an awesome quote. So the poor rich, why are you doing this? They have finite resources. The person living on Social Security doesn't have finite resources? Do you know how much that $60 a month would help them? But no. Apparently we're spending gobs of money on them. But the poor millionaires, they have finite resources. They actually wrote this, man. They wrote it down in the paper. It's absolutely Orwellian. And we're supposed to feel like the older folks in this country, who, by the way, worked and put into that Social Security their whole lives, are the ones who are the fat cats. And the people who are making above 113,000, and certainly if you're making above $1 million, are the real victims here. Is that how you feel? But in the Washington Post, and they accurately represent Washington, give them credit on that. And in all of Washington, that's exactly how they feel. Because they don't relate to you, because they're in the other category. They make the rules based on that category, not based on what's good for you. I love that the progressives propose this, because now all of a sudden we're having a debate. Should we increase Social Security or should we decrease Social Security? Hey, you know what? I'll cut you a deal. How about we leave it alone? Before, all you had was Obama say cut Social Security and the Republicans saying cut it even more. Well, thank God for Harkin and Sanchez putting this proposal forward and all the progressives who backed it so we could have some sanity in Washington.